Hello and welcome to the final round of the 2019 Mercedes-Benz Virtual GP Championship. The drivers have all congregated at the 4 Games event to celebrate the last race of the season, and today we're kicking things off with the VGP2 category from the legendary Suzuka circuit in Japan. My name is Justin Sutton, and joining me as usual, it's Chris Buxton.
The traditional closer for VGP. We are again here at Suzuka. What an incredible season we have seen, and what a great way to see it out. This is how our VGP2 category currently stands. Kovacic right on the cusp of gaining that crucial championship title, but he hasn't won by any stretch. It's double points here, so anyone within the top 3 could still take that all cruise positions. Team-wise, a little bit more straightforward for Acer, but not impossible if it went all disastrously wrong, but it would have to go very disastrously wrong for the Acer team to not take the title. Still lots of fighting going on from 2nd to 4th, as you can clearly see, so still plenty to play for.
Just having a quick look at the championship and how Simon Kovacic can win. If he finishes 4th or better, he wins. If Rigel finishes in 2nd, then Simon Kovacic is going to have to finish in 7th or better. So it really comes down to, where Rigel is going to finish will determine whether or not Kovacic is going to become the champion. So, yeah, again, because of the double points, it does shake things up just a little bit. So it's not done and dusted just yet.
Here's an overview of the amazing Suzuka circuit. 18 turns, 5.8 kilometers, and a lap record of 1:30.9 held by Lewis Hamilton. Lovely warm temperatures, and of course it's clear blue skies to see out the championship with. Simon Herdnecki getting the VGP2 driver of the day last time out, as you can see. And whoa, that's close at the top,
wow.
At least.
Well, Simon Kovacic does take pole position, but by only about 3/4 of a tenth of a second to David Pichota, who has really been on fire recently in qualifying. Then it's Thomas Koreny for Spurt in 3rd position, Jaroslav Prohaska in 4th, Pavel Rigel down in 5th position, and just ahead of Peter Kujela in the Forza car. Then it's Bušek and Herdnecki on the 4th row, and Liška and Jelinek rounding out the top 10. So that is how things are looking heading into this race. And there's no, it's not like the sprint race or anything like that we've seen recently. It is just the one race that they have. So here we go from Suzuka, from pole position for Simon Kovacic in the Logitech car. He's going to want a good start here, try and cover off the inside line into turn 1 from David Pichota as well. But it looks like Pichota with a really good start is going to be close enough to actually mount an attack on the Logitech car into turn 1. No, not quite close enough as they all stream through. Oh, a bit of an issue there for the Spurt car. That's going to send him off the track, as well as the Acer car of Rigel as well. Oh, that's unfortunate for the championship. Rigel already losing positions at the start here, Chris.
Yeah, the qualification was really weirdly spaced. You had less than a 10 separating the top 2, and then 4 thousandths separating the next 2, but they were 8/10 apart, the Farriers pairs. How unusual. The Suzuka is one of these tracks that's really testing. Oh my goodness, as Herdnecki gets a bit of a shove from behind, and I think that's Vanacek that's gone off the road in the Legion car as well. That's going to drop him behind Vanacek, behind Jelinek. The 10 of the field. Oh, that's Rigel again that's gone too deep, as long with Herdnecki. Oh, that could be a lot of tangling going on. There's Liška in the Benzina car getting involved in there, but that is disastrous for Rigel. And again, look at this, there's someone getting another shove. That's Kujela in the Forza car that looked like he nudged the back of Prohaska in the RPS. My goodness me, I mean, that's not quite what we mean by fighting. We don't mean literally with the cars, but yeah, amazing battling going on. But that's what this final round means. It is do or die for the remaining positions, but Kovacic is getting exactly the start that he needs.
Exactly right. He's really able to just stretch his legs a little bit. He's not having to worry about David Pichota behind him in that Thrustmaster car. He's got a pretty sizable gap at the moment, an even bigger gap down to Prohaska in the RPS car. As we can see those gaps visibly now as they come onto the start-finish straight. But yeah, the big story here, I really think, is Rigel, who didn't get the start that he would have needed in order to challenge in this championship. So at the moment, it's looking like advantage Kovacic, but of course there is still a pit stop phase to work through, and over 40 minutes plus 1 lap of racing still to go here at Suzuka. And we saw the number of issues that the drivers were having around Silverstone. Just very pointy these cars are. The Formula Hybrid Mercedes-Benz cars, they're right on the limit at all times of adhesion, and the back can just really go at any moment, and it can cause some serious problems for people, as we see a bit of a lockup there. I think that was Liška in the Benzina car with a bit of a lockup into the second of the two Degners, but he's not going to lose any positions as a result of that. He does get very, very close to the back of the Predator car of Jelinek, and he's actually going to be side by side as Jelinek goes for a bit of an explorer off into the grass coming out of that turn 11 hairpin, and that is going to lose him that position to Liška as he moves himself up into 8th position. And I imagine he's going to be pushing hard to try and catch up. Oh, both of them going a bit wide there through Spoon. I think Liška's poor braking for his Spoon just kind of caught Jelinek out a little bit. He just kind of followed him off the circuit, and surely that's going to put Vanacek right onto the back of him.
You'd imagine so, but Kovacic is gone, comparatively speaking. He's done a bit of a smiddle, and he's run off into the distance already. 2.5 seconds his lead. But Jelinek has got very much... that was Liška in the Benzina car that he is chasing after. Here we have Kujela in the Forza car chasing off after Prohaska and the RPS. Again, oh, that's a bit deep into the first turn. The manages to keep it on the road. Exactly as you said, they are really, really twitchy. The last thing you need is a very twisty circuit with the twitchy cars. Unfortunately, that's exactly what Suzuka is completely full of, is lots and lots of turns. So these guys have got such an amazingly difficult job ahead of them, but I have no doubt they will do a brilliant job. Whoa, that's a lot of curb there for Kujela, but keeps it on the road, comes through the second Degner, and is really keeping Prohaska honest. Just over half a second between them. Big bit of a lockup coming into the hairpin. Kujela closes in a little bit, but can't gain any. There's Rigel. That's absolute disaster for him. That's already put him some, 6, 7, 8 seconds or so behind Kovacic. And bearing in mind that Rigel really needed to take the win, or at least be in the podium positions to stand half a chance of preventing Kovacic from taking the title. And right now it is all done and dusted. As Justin said earlier, there's no feature race to fall back on. This is it. It is do or die. Double points here and now.
And Kovacic is grabbing that championship with both hands and just running away with it at the moment. David Pichata is keeping him honest, but after the small amount of racing that we've had so far, it's looking rather comfortable for the Logitech driver at the moment, you have to say. But we continue to focus on this battle for the final podium position. Kujela right on the back of Jaroslav Prohaska. He's not quite pressuring him, not putting him into any side-by-side moments or anything like that, but I mean, just you can see on the body language, and that's the spurt car going very wide. That's Korny making a bit of a hash of turn 2, and that's going to put Hurtnecki and the Avast car right behind him. It's going to put him offline as well through this S section. You can see just how much Hurtnecki is able to close up to the back of that spurt car. Just that one mistake at the beginning of the S's, and it just puts him all out of sync for the rest of the corners, and the Avast car getting very, very close to the back of the spurt car. He's not going to have any opportunity. Oh, is that a mistake? No, he did go heavily on the curbs, but we are seeing that some of the drivers are really attacking that inside curb at the first Degner, just climbing all over it and just trying to grab as much time as they possibly can. It looks like Korny a bit cautious there under braking for the turn 11 hairpin. A bit of a wiggle from that spurt car as well as he accelerates his way down into turn 12, looking backwards now from Jaroslav Prohaska's RPS car, and he's just having a look at Kujela in that Forza car, and right behind him though is Rigel. But again, while Rigel is caught behind this pair, Kovacic is just slowly but surely extending that gap at the front.
He's doing Michael's middle things. He's gone. He is. Yeah, Pichata doesn't seem to have an answer for him, which is a great shame. We've seen some awesome duels between the top two, but once again, it is Pichata and Kovacic up there doing the business up front. But Prohaska has got a lot of defending to do, and you can imagine that the camera view we've had looking back at Kujela, Rigel, and Korny's not that far off the back of this pack either. That is something that Prohaska's keeping a very keen eye on, but the last thing you want to do is be taking your eye off the ball anywhere here at Suzuka. He is distracted by the pack behind him for just that split second. Well, look what Korny did last time around at this very point, lost an immense amount of time. Looking at the times, it looks like he's actually opened that gap back up again. So he's gotten back into his stride and really started to get into the groove. A lot of people, I think, have been a little bit nervous as Vanacek has brought his car into the pits, I think, for a second time. He is miles off the back of Buchek, and there he is in the Legion car. So that's gone. That started badly and went even worse for him. As Kujela really got under the rear wing of the RPS car, but of course Prohaska on the gas that little bit earlier, keeping Kujela at bay. But he's close enough to maintain the pressure. talked a lot about pressure management, both in the application of and the defense of. This will be a real test for Yaroslav.
Yeah, this is a different race as well compared to the online races or even the studio races that we have throughout the season. This is the one that's played on a stage in front of an audience, and there is a small audience at the replay studio, of course, where they do the studio races, but nothing like what they're dealing with at the 4 Games event. So, yeah, this is really where the pressure really starts to come on. And not only are you in the fastest car of the season, not only is it the final race of the season with double points, no less, but also you're having to perform in front of a crowd as well. So it can be, I can only imagine, because I've never been in that sort of situation myself, obviously, but it can be really something difficult to deal with. Speaking about Corny, though, you picked up on this, Chris. He has really flown up to the back of the Acer car of Pavel Rigel, actually. So Rigel, rather than attacking for 4th position, might end up defending from 6th place Corny and trying to hold on to that 5th place position. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that, but at the moment it seems like Kujela is the one that's on the attack in this battle for 3rd position, with Corny just now starting to close up as we go on board with the Spurt driver, and you can see just how close he is to the back of that lovely Acer car. We like all of the liveries, but we've been saying all season long that we love that Acer car. Doesn't look quite as good with all of that smoke coming up as he makes that lockup into the turn 11 hairpin, but a lockup into that hairpin is going to lose you a lot less time compared to locking up at other locations at the circuit, so that's not too bad. But Kujela is on an absolute flyer here. He is looking really, really quick here at the moment. Let's see if he can get the exit that he needs out of Spoon Curve in order to mount an attack into 130R. It doesn't look like he's going to be close enough. A couple of car lengths between the two of them. He's only now starting to gain ground as they just get into 130R. But look at this from Corny, looking to go around the outside into 130R. Gets the inside line for the Casio Triangle, but not quite late enough on the brakes to take that position from Pavel Rigel, who does a good job of defending that position. But clearly Corny has some serious pace in that Spurt car.
Just a tad. Unfortunately, he hit the apexes a little bit too hard coming through the Casio Triangle, so you can see the gap that's cost him. He was almost side by side with Rigel coming into 130R. These cars will do 130R fairly, comparatively easier to previous generations of these hybrid cars, but even still, you've got to have, you really have got to have your wits about you if you're going that fast through that left-hander side by side with someone. You don't want to be flying off onto the runoff area. And already, look at the Spurt car of Corny already. Oh, wow, again, as Rigel smacks that apex at the first Egner. He's destroyed that gap already. Corny knows something that the rest don't. He is absolutely flying. A little bit a lock-up again. That's not going to cost them too much time, as Justin previously mentioned. But, Corny seems a little, I wouldn't say slow as such, but comparatively a little slower coming out of the slow corners. He seems to really have it when it's coming through the medium to fast corners. As is rather proven there. Look how much time he gained on the exit of Spoon. That was absolutely amazing. We've seen previously, where two cars battling, and what the guy in the front needs to do is just nail the exit from Spoon. And, we've seen that lap after lap after lap after lap. I don't reckon Rigel's going to have the defense against Corny if Corny can stay close enough. Right behind them as well, Neki in the Avast car. He's less than a second as well. He's not going to get involved.
This is turning into the Prohaska train, I think, which also I would say is highlighting what a good job Yaroslav Prohaska is doing. He doesn't quite have the raw lap pace to keep up with the top two, Kovacic and Pachata, who are absolutely gone. I don't think we're going to be seeing too much of them in this race, at least until they come into the pits. But yeah, I have to tip my hat to Yaroslav Prohaska. He's doing a fantastic job making sure Kujela really can't find a way even alongside, never mind past the RPS car, but, Prohaska doesn't seem to be particularly strong in one area or another, but he also doesn't seem to have many weaknesses. No. And at some point, Corny lost the position to Hertnecki, and he dropped down into 7th position. Now he's gone for a bit of explore through the Degners there, and that's going to lose him even more time. So unfortunately for Corny, he seems to have incredible one-lap pace, but he's just struggling a little bit just to keep the car on the tarmac and facing in the right direction and all that kind of stuff. So we will hope that he can sort that out, but that's allowed a bit of a gap now, actually, to form between Kujela and Rigel. It's now about 2 seconds, just over 2 seconds between that pairing. So Kujela now has, I would say, probably a brief window here where he can focus on offense rather than defense, and I think he does need to take that opportunity when he can. As we look a little bit further down, this is the battle for 8th position. Jelinek trying to defend from Bušek in the Smarty car. Is he going to defend the inside line down towards 130R? It looks like he sure is in that Predator car. Bušek's going to look to possibly go around the outside through 130R. Jelinek goes a little bit deep through there. Are they going to be side by side into the Casio triangle? Very late braking for Bušek up the inside into the Casio triangle, and P8 belongs to Bušek in that Smarty car. Nice overtake there. He put the Predator car offline heading into the Casio triangle, grabbed that inside line, took the position. Nice textbook maneuver.
Also, Bušek's the only medium runner, or the only medium starter, I should say.
Well spotted.
As Liška has brought his car into the pits. He did look quite squirrely coming out of the Casio triangle previously, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's looking to ditch those soft tyres as we look at Hertnecki on the back of Rigel. Rigel is struggling. He is already some 3 seconds behind Kujela, who he was hounding for that 4th position, and he's now really having a tough time, whether it's the tyres. Oh no! Whoa, we've seen things like that earn penalties for drivers, and through goes Korny. Very nice opportunistic moment there for him. So even with that mistake he made in the Degners a lap or so ago, he was still right on the back of the Avast car to make that opportunity stick. Oh, a bit wide coming into the first part of Spoon though, and a bit wiggly coming out. Oh, as Hertnecki goes a bit too wide. Look at the momentum that lost the Avast car. Here comes Korny. Surely this is going to be a banzai move coming into Casio Triangle. He had to back out of it. He got too close to the Acer car, but he's going to go for the outside of the first part of the Casio Triangle. No, can't get it done. Nicely defended from the Acer car of Pavel Rigel, and they come into the pits, nearly into the pit wall. They come in sync, and Hertnecki's chosen to continue. Oh no! A problem there. Oh no. My goodness. Now, that's not the first time we've seen pit lane issues. Oh dear, that's Kujela.
Yeah.
That's Kujela that's had a problem in the Forza car, chasing Prohaska in the RPS car. He hasn't lost a position, but he's lost an absolute catastrophic amount of time with that issue through the S's.
Yeah, with Rigel and Korny having come into the pits, potentially he could end up losing positions through the pit stop phase once he himself comes through the pits. And there is our current leader, our championship leader and race leader, Simon Kovacic, in the Logitech car, making his way through turn 12. I did say we probably weren't going to see too much of him, and this really is the first time we've seen him, I think, since lap 2. So, but he is having a fantastic drive out there at the moment, really just enjoying himself, going a bit wide at the exit of Spoon there, but making sure to keep everything facing in the right direction. It is a set of medium compound tires going onto the Acer Spurt and Benzina cars for those guys that have been into the pits. Bušek again still running on the mediums that he started this race on. He's going to be going fairly deep, I would imagine, probably at least another 6 minutes or so into the race on those medium compound tires. But Kovacic continues on for yet another lap. I have to say I'm not surprised, especially since Pichata has not been into the pits. He's not in any danger of being undercut or anything like that. And it does look like Pichata is continuing on, not stopping this lap. So Kovacic knows that he could probably do at least one more lap on that set of soft compound tires and just really ensure that he has plenty of tire life on his mediums at the end of the race. Hertnecki now into the pits as well, and we would assume for a set of mediums, it really seems that soft to medium is the primary strategy that people are going on to as we go on board with Pavel Rigel. Again, he's been into the pits along with Korny in the Spurt car right behind him, or not that far behind him, I should say. Oh, actually, it's quite a big gap between the two of them. Oh, right, he crashed in the pit lane. But Rigel does jump Hertnecki, so he moves himself back up into 6th position after the Avast car visited the pits.
It was Korny that had a problem in the pit lane.
Yep.
No, that was Hertnecki we'd just seen coming out of the pit lane, I think. But yeah, that mistake from Korny cost him about 15 seconds, and there he is. Yep. Now in 9th, miles behind Hertnecki in the Avast car. Now that the pit stops are pretty much done, you can just see how much time that mistake has cost. So I'd imagine Martin Stefanko would breathe a bit of a sigh of relief for now not being the only person to have a problem in the pit lane. Although there's Kovacic having a bit of a fight with, I think that's Vanashek in the Legion car. He's continuing on though, doesn't feel the need to come in yet, and absolutely fair enough. That would have cost him a little bit of time to Pichata, but that's fairly irrelevant because Pichata has brought the Thrustmaster car in, and there he is from 2nd position to get shot of those soft tyres. There is Liška in the Benzina car. He is right with that'll be the Predator car of Jelinek that he's chasing. Kujela and the Force car is coming in as well. So more mediums are being fitted. The one that is the one on the contra strategy, bear in mind, is Bušek in the smarty car. He's going to be the one going on to the softs towards the end, and he's already mid-table and was doing well before the pit stops even began. So don't discount the smarty car for a decent points finish.
Yeah, I agree with you completely on that one, actually. I think he could be a serious threat towards the end, being on those quicker tires. He'll be the only one on the quicker tires as well, too. So, yeah, he could make a bit of a charge towards the end. I do expect that we'll see Kovacic into the pits this lap. Prohaska as well, too, I would imagine. He's another driver, similar to Kovacic, actually. He's got sort of a buffer between himself and it was Kujela, who was in 4th position, but Kujela's actually been jumped by Rigel after that spin that he had in Sector 1, or when he went for that bit of an Explorer. So Kujela has lost a position to Rigel in all of that. Bušek is yet to stop, don't forget. So essentially Rigel is now in a net 4th position, if I'm right about that, unless he jumps Prohaska somehow, which would certainly be possible. And indeed, I was right. Kovacic is into the pits at the end of that lap. And again, I would expect Prohaska to be running the same sort of strategy. I expect the RPS car is going to come in, and just like clockwork,
voila,
he follows suit as well. So Bušek may take the lead of this race, potentially, again, as the only driver that is yet to come into the pits so far. He might take the lead of this race, but he's going to be on fairly worn mediums compared to the leaders who are going to be on fairly fresh mediums. But I do believe I just saw Kovacic leaving the pits. Prohaska has not come out yet, though. So Kovacic resumes the lead. And here comes Rigel, actually. He's going to be very, very close with Prohaska. He goes around the outside. That is a lovely move from Pavel Rigel to move himself ahead of Jaroslav Prohaska. An incredible move for the Acer driver. Really enjoyed that. That's the kind of move that takes a lot of commitment, and he gave it everything.
Oh yeah, just a bit. Prachado is now much closer to Kovacic as well. So wonder where Kovacic lost that time, because we didn't really see him, so we don't know where he's lost. So maybe he lost a bit more time on the warm softs than Prachado did. Who knows? Oh no, that's a big kick of oversteer then from. Oh, that's very close. That is the RPS car. Prohaska just losing the tail on the exit of the second Degner, and that is the Forza car of Kujela that has gone up into 5th position to take that spot. There is Prachada, and you can visibly see that gap is much, but I'd say it's about half, if not even smaller than that, between the two lead cars now. So that could spur David Prachada on in the Thrustmaster car. We will see. Kovacic has essentially got nothing to lose. If he wins, it makes no difference where Rigel is. But in order for Kovacic has to do something pretty badly wrong now for him to not win it. It's very much his to lose at this stage, and he'll know that, so he won't want to do anything too silly. But he's clearly got the pace to keep Prachada at bay.
Yeah, if Prachada catches up to him, I have a feeling. Or if Prachada forces him into a side-by-side moment, I don't think he's going to fight that too much. Because essentially, if he finishes ahead of Rigel, then he wins the championship.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's more to it than just that. But he's not fighting Prachada, and fighting Prachada could cost him the championship. So why do it? So yeah, I have a feeling he's going to try to manage that gap. Just make sure he stays ahead of Prachada, because of course he wants to pick up another victory. He wants to pick up the win here at Suzuka. But again, if Prachada forces him into a side-by-side situation, I don't think he's going to take any unnecessary risks whatsoever. Having a look at Jaroslav Prohaska, again, he did such a good job of defending from Kujela at the start of this race during the first stint on the soft compound tires, but I do wonder if he's got the pace in order to actually mount an attack on Kujela and try to regain what is now 5th position after Rigel managed to jump the pair of them and move himself up into what is a net 3rd position once Bušek has been into the pits. Speaking of which, Rigel is starting to close up to Bušek, but again, I think it's going to be right around now when Bušek's going to be coming in for his set of soft compound tires. If it's not at the end of this lap, it's going to be within the next couple of laps, I reckon.
Yeah, I'll agree with that, and you called it perfectly well last time around. Kovacic gets the new fastest lap with 1:30.0. Very nicely done on those fresh medium boots. Bušek not seen the pit lane yet, but yeah, I fully agree. It's going to be in the next few when that smarty car comes in, and then just watch as he then looks to try and carve his way through the field. Now, coming back to my earlier point about pressure management, you quite rightly say, Justin, that this race is at the 4 games the 4 Games event. So they're in front of a big live audience. So not everybody takes to that. I've been on stage. I know what stage fright is like. As much as I doing commentary, at least I'm shielded from the glare of the public. And that can really play a lot of mind games for a number of people. Some people can just put that to the back of their minds and never worry about it, but not everybody handles that additional element of pressure. So we might see some drivers just not handle that additional element particularly well. At the moment, it's fairly business as usual, but one simple mistake, and there's some people will think, oh, a lot of people can see that. That could well kind of act against them. Some people revel in it, so we may see some people absolutely charge through that wouldn't normally do so. Again, we know how amazing all of these drivers are. Let's not dance around that particular point. They're all incredible drivers to even got into the tournament, let alone actually had done as well as they have. But when the crowd is there, the pressure all changes.
Yeah, it's a different sort of scenario. You're exactly right about that. And, Rigel has managed to overtake Bušek. I did notice that he was catching up to him rather quickly, but he dispatched the Smarty car pretty rapidly, I have to say. A bit surprised about that one. Rigel does have Bušek right behind him, and then actually Kužela is starting to close up. I wonder if Rigel got caught up behind Bušek for a little while, and that's just allowed Kužela to just close that gap down to the Acer car ever so slightly. I will say, on the subject of pressure and making mistakes and stuff like that, this circuit is closer to Silverstone than it is some other circuits as far as the amount of corners, the amount of corners that lead into corners that go the other direction, so i.e. the number of change of direction type of corners. Ooh, that's a bit of an awkward moment for Kužela. He's caught Bušek at a weird location, and Bušek, it seems, was braking rather early for that Degner, but up the inside goes the Forza car, and I don't know if that's actually gained him any time relative to Rigel, but of course if Prohaska can't overtake Bušek as quickly as Kužela did, that could be beneficial for his race, so good on him to make that overtake on the run down towards that turn 11 hairpin. But yeah, there's some definite similarities between Suzuka and Silverstone, and if you cast your mind back to the races we had at Silverstone, the smallest mistake can lose you heaps and heaps of time. I mean, we saw some wild excursions off track at Silverstone, and we haven't seen that sort of thing just yet at Suzuka, but that might just mean that we're due for one. That was some incredible stuff we saw at Silverstone, and unsurprisingly, Bušek is in. So he definitely lost a catastrophic amount of pace. I think he let Kužela go. He jumped to the right-hand side before getting, before he was anywhere near the hairpin then, and braked early, as you said. So I think Kužela was just letting, Bušek was just letting Kužela go. I've got a pit stop to do, but I'll be back, as the old phrase goes. He's going to have a lot of time to make up, but he's got to have a lovely fresh set of soft tyres with which to do it. So, don't discount Bušek. Certainly, he'll be looking for the fastest lap, if nothing else. As we continue to look at Hernecki, who is about 1.5 or so behind Prohaska, who is about the same distance behind Kužela. So that pack spread out a little bit, but again, one mistake, and we saw how easy it is. Well, we've seen several times how easy it is to make a mistake here, but Prohaska himself showing how easy it is just to lose the tail for that split second, and you lose so much momentum doing it on the board with the Avast car. They sweep through 180R heading towards Spoon. Now he may well just be biding his time at the moment. No, actually in hindsight I'm not sure he would be, because there's not a lot of time to bide. 16 minutes disappears pretty quickly in the heat at the moment. Especially in cars that are this fast. Yeah, 16 minutes feels very, very quick when you're going well over 300 kph through a corner, no less. But yeah, Hernecki is he's doing a good job out there. He's holding on to that 6th place position. He's keeping up to the back of Jaroslav Prohaska, who is similarly keeping up to the back of Kužela as well. Now Rigel starting to extend the gap between himself and the Forza car of Kužela ever so slightly, but it's not a massive amount. And we've seen some mistakes from Pavel Rigel, so I'm not going to discount Kužela from a potential podium here, but again, Prohaska did seem like the slower car in that train of cars that we had at the beginning of the race for 3rd position. He really just didn't seem to have the outright pace. He just seemed to have the consistency. And who knows, in the end, that might be all he needs, actually, in order to pick up a podium position. But yeah, he just seems to be a little bit more comfortable out there, if lacking a little bit in the raw speed, but it is only a little bit. It's a marginal. You can see the lap time difference between Kuchela and Prohaska on the previous lap is only a 1/10 and a half. That's a very, very small amount, and with just under 15 minutes plus 1 lap of racing still to go, that could swing his way. Who knows? Maybe he's going to be able to maintain his tire life a little bit better. There's a number of factors that could cause the pendulum to swing his way, and he could be on for a potential 4th place position. Rigel might make a mistake, and that puts him up into a potential podium position. But he's got Hertnecki right behind as well, keeping him honest. And then Corny, a pretty decent size back, a decent gap back down to Corny in 7th position. Bušek, I can see, is already starting to close down on Corny, though, in that Smarty car. He's gotten that gap down to less than 4 seconds. It was over 5 seconds last time I took a look at it. So he is flying quite a bit on those softs. Once he gets past Corny, he's going to have a lot of clean air, though. It's, again, a big gap between 6th and 7th for Bušek to try and close down. But once he catches up to the back of this train, assuming his soft tires are still in pretty good nick, these guys aren't separated all that much, and at the same time, they're not that close either. So, you know, he could, like checkers almost, he could find himself just hopping over them one by one at the tail end of this race. We'll see.
I think that'll be a bit of a different story when Bušek gets there, because you know, he's still got some 17, well, more than that, 20 seconds between himself and Hertnecki. So, well, depending on which part of the circuit, because of course the timings will change depending on who's braking and who's accelerating. He's got a fair amount of miles to get through before he gets to the back of this pack. But I think he's going to dispose of Corny fairly quickly. What a shame for Corny in the sport car. That one mistake in the pit lane has just totally destroyed his rhythm, it seems, because he was making the moves early on, and unfortunately, sadly, the one move he did in the pit lane was the one that undid it for him. So there it is. Oh wow! I would think if Corny didn't let him go, that was the most amazing amount of opportunistic overtaking I've ever seen. I'm assuming Corny just let him go. He's just got nothing, it seems, to answer for the impressive pace of Bušek in the Smarty car. You know, warm mediums against fresh softs. Yeah, that's never really going to work very well for the medium runner. So he's got about 15 seconds or so to close down to Hertnecki in the Avast car. But you know, whilst we're in a strategic phase at the moment, I don't reckon it's going to last all that long. Kovacic again has disappeared off into the distance by a good 6 to 7 seconds. Rigel is in comparative no man's land, although Kuchela is you know, a second ahead of us. You know, Rigel's got nothing to worry about, but equally he's not where he wants to be, as Corny in that sport car has actually brought it in.
David Pichota is having an incredible end of season, though, I have to say. Really, things have been coming together for him in a big way, and it's really impressed me to see how he's improved over the course of the season and the position that because he's obviously not second in the championship standings, but he's really been the second quickest towards the tail end of this season. He's really been the only one that can sort of keep up with Kovacic. So massively impressive stuff. I genuinely wonder if Kovacic or David Pichota will be in the VGP2 category for the 2020 season with the pace that they've been showing. So really, really impressive stuff. I have to really say a huge congratulations to David Pichota, because while maybe his championship standing isn't reflecting that, his pace in the closing stages of the season have really stood out for me, I have to say. Really, really impressive stuff. Somebody who really hasn't had a great time of things is Corny. I think Corny, you know, he's got really good pace, but he's sort of lacking that consistency. But I think he as well is one that we could see improve massively once we get into the 2020 season, for example. I don't know which drivers are confirmed for the 2020 season, if any, but you know, certainly I hope all of these guys are going to be back. Because, I mean, if there's one thing I've learned from VGP over the years is, even if somebody, you know, you might look at like Jelinek and Vanešek and think, oh, they're at the back and stuff like that, but they don't have to be. I mean, my go-to for this is Kostyuk. Kostulik was a back marker. Oh, here we go. Prohaska's got a great opportunity on Kujela here. He's going to look to go around the outside. A big lockup for him in the turn 11 hairpin. In the end, can't quite go around the outside at the hairpin. A bit of a switch for him as well, too. I don't think he's going to be close enough to mount an attack into Spoon, but he is going to be really pressuring the back of that Forza car. So maybe we'll see an overtake attempt into the Casio triangle, possibly even into 130R if he can get it a good enough exit out of Spoon here. But yeah, Kostulik is the person that I point to. I say, just because somebody might be, at the back at the moment, does not mean that they have to stay there.
Yeah, Kostulik is very much the poster child for determination and what could happen, where you could improve. Don't give up. Absolutely, fully agree with that. And it's the first time we've seen a number of these drivers take part in a championship such as VGP. Yep. And who knows what the future holds for these particular drivers. I mean, look at Smidl and Stefanko. They went through to F1 Esports and got signed. So the pathways that could open from a championship such as this is beyond measure at the moment. Even for those that may not be getting the results just now, determination and perseverance and practice and all this really can pay off very, very well. Prohaska doing a pretty stellar job of hanging on to the back with Kujela. Wow, Kujela has really opened that gap back up again. And there is Rigel being caught. Oh my goodness. Almost as like he takes off when he goes over that first apex of the Degner. It's, that's not the definition of flying we're talking about, Mr. Prohaska. But wow, is Rigel in trouble again? Because he's been absolutely reeled in by Kujela and Prohaska. The Forza car and RPS car haven't really separated much, but that Acer car is falling into their clutches quick. So, and I also saw in some of the shots, hair necking the Avaskar. He's under 4 seconds behind this particular pack. I reckon he's going to be involved. It doesn't look like Bushek's charge is amounting to much. That gap hasn't come down any, so maybe he's burned the best out of those soft tyres already. A great shame for him. Corney has gone onto a set of ultra softs. He's going for the fastest lap on us, seeing what he can achieve, and why not? May as well do. He's got essentially nothing to lose, but Rigel looks like he's in trouble.
Yeah, he's struggling out there, clearly, and Kujela and Prohaska are just putting in these extremely consistent lap times. And Herdecki has just been kind of falling off the back of that. He's shown that he has a similar sort of pace, but I'm just wondering if he's lacking the lap-on-lap consistency that Kujela and Prohaska seem to just have in spades here around Suzuka. These guys are doing an absolutely incredible job, and I wonder if maybe Pavel Rigel has cooked his tires, because it is so easy to do around this circuit. I mean, you're turning the wheel for so much of the lap. I mean, pretty much from turn 1 through Spoon, you're turning the wheel almost the entire time. There are very few times where you're straightening up the wheel here. And there we go. Kujela just flying right past Pavel Rigel. Makes the move into the hairpin. Let's see if Prohaska's going to be able to make anything happen here as well. Oh, that's a big mistake for Pavel Rigel. It's going to lose him yet another position. Hurtnecki is going to go through as well, too, and the Acer car drops down into 6th position, and possibly, I have to say here, Chris, into the clutches of Bushek, potentially. You were right earlier when you said it wasn't looking like Bushek was actually going to catch up to this pack, but after that mistake from Pavel Rigel, I think he could slip as low as 7th.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he's boiled his tires. He just had nothing to get that car back under control. And again, I think this is coming down to pressure management. We've seen a few mistakes we may not necessarily see under, quote-unquote normal circumstances here in VGP, but I think with the additional pressure of the stage environment may well have gotten to them. Maybe the circuit, as you said before, Justin, doesn't suit everybody. We won't know that kind of thing, unfortunately. But yeah, that's just completely underdone itself for Pavel Rigel. Unless Kovacic leaves the circuit, as he finds an escape road and wanders off into downtown Japan, then I think this race is going to be very much, and the championship, of course, are going to be very much in his clutches. But now that I've commentated cursed him, we'll see what's going to happen. Maybe a hurricane will appear over his head. With the recent weather that's happened in Japan, I just can't believe how much air they get from hitting that first apex and keeping it under control. I mean, it could be exaggerated from our view, but it does look like they literally fly over the apex. But this battle has been going on for some time with Kujela and Prohaska, of course. But Kujela's done a brilliant job of just keeping himself under control. He's fallen into the clutches of Prohaska a couple of times, but he's just opened that gap back up to where he needed to be. He's not defending fresh air. He's not making too many mistakes. Great effort from both of them.
Yeah, I have to say as well, I earlier doubted Prohaska's ability to keep pace with Kujela. It seemed to me that Prohaska was the slower of the drivers in that scenario, and I thought mainly he was just defending the position by just not making mistakes anywhere. But honestly, again, just looking at their lap differences, lap on lap, it's a tenth or two between the two of them every single lap. Yeah, it's only about a tenth between the two of them, and Prohaska is doing a fantastic job of keeping up to the back of that Forza car, keeping himself in what is now 4th position. He's 1 second away, essentially, from a podium position here. And again, it's double points. I don't have the championship standings up in front of me, and obviously we know all of the permutations between Kovacic and Rigel as far as winning the championship, but obviously there are positions to be gained for these guys as well due to the double points. So I don't know where these guys sit in the championship standings, but just this one change of position is 6 championship points. That is not a small amount whatsoever. So, that would deny Kujela 6 championship points, and it would give Prohaska an additional 6 championship points. So that's essentially 12 championship points in Prohaska's favor if he can make the overtake here. And he is running out of time. There's less than 4 laps to go, less than 4 minutes plus 1 lap still to go in this VGP2 race. But again, I really got to give it to Prohaska. I doubted him earlier on, and he is proving me wrong.
They are separated by 3 points coming into this round.
Oh, wow.
Kujela on 104, Prohaska on 107. They are, just looking at the numbers here, they are 4th and 5th, I believe,
so whoever
in the championship.
Whoever gets this 3rd place position will finish ahead of the other one.
Exactly, yeah. This isn't just for pride. This isn't just... although there's an element of that, I'm sure. But yeah, this isn't just stating their worth to the teams that could sign them for next season, because they, all of these guys, if they're wanting to enter the 2020 season, have to state their worth to those that they would then represent. So Thrustmaster, Logitech, Forza, RPS, etc., etc. They want the very best in their car. Everybody does. So they have to prove their worth to their respective signers. So everything is absolutely crucial. So they don't want to be flying off the road all the time. They don't want to be making the mistakes. It's more than just personal pride involved in this particular battle. That all-crucial championship position is also at stake. So, again, great effort. Only 2.5 minutes remaining of this race. And it has been pretty tense action through... Not necessarily throughout the field, because a lot of the drivers are pretty well spaced out, but there's been battles to look at all race long, and this one has certainly been one of them. So it's only going to be another, 3 laps at best, I'd have thought, depending on where Kovacic is. So, Kujela has not got long to defend, Prohaska has not got long to attack, but he's been there long enough to know where he is that little bit stronger, where his chance might come. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if the last lap here is where the move happens in the Casio Triangle, but we will see.
Yep, exactly right. And we've seen moves done at the Casio Triangle on the final lap or right at the end of the race in VGP before for the championship. Or
not always successfully.
Exactly. So, yeah, exactly. It certainly could happen here potentially, but at the moment, Kujela is doing everything that he needs to do to keep Prohaska behind. He was actually 0.3 of a second quicker than Prohaska on that previous lap, as we are getting right to the tail end of this final VGP2 race of the 2019 Mercedes-Benz VGP Championship season. And what a season it's been. It's been my favorite season so far, without a doubt. The 2019 Mercedes-Benz VGP Championship has been the best. Oh, and a bit of a mistake there from Yaroslav Prohaska. That could give Kujela the breathing room that he needs, although it looks like Kujela made a little bit of a mistake of his own, because the RPS car, right onto the back of that Forza car, they're going to be practically nose to tail as they make their way through the turn 11 hairpin. Just a couple of laps to go. I think 2. I think 2 laps. I don't think it's going to be 1 lap, because I think Kovacic is already starting his next lap or about to start it. So I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure there are 2 laps still to go for these guys. So he's got some more opportunities, but Prohaska making a small mistake. It seems Kujela making a small mistake as well too. Practically nothing in it. Meanwhile, just to catch up on what's going on with Bušek. He is getting closer to Pavel Rigel. Again, Rigel is clearly struggling. Oh, that's a big moment for Kujela in the Forza car, losing the back end through the Casio triangle. That's going to put Prohaska straight onto the back of him. He's going to be a couple of car lengths behind him as they come into the start-finish straight. Is the RPS car going to try and move up the inside? I don't think he's going to be close enough. No, Kujela maintains that position for the meantime, and they're going to have this lap plus one more still to go, but that is great news if you're Yaroslav Prohaska. He would have seen that mistake, and he's really gonna start piling the pressure on and see if he could get one more mistake out of Kujela.
I bet Prohaska is kicking himself for that one small mistake he made in the Degnus, because no sooner did he make his than Kujela made his mistake, and that would have been an ideal moment for Prohaska to come past him. As we briefly look at Kovacic just having a nice relaxing Sunday drive out there doing, Michael's middle things, as we keep saying. So Prohaska, again, he's not close enough to make that move coming into the hairpin. But we've seen that the mighty Kujela is not immune to a mistake. That big moment into the Casio triangle would have probably put some heat into his rear tyres. But then we've seen Prohaska have some wiggles as well. So he throws that one into the hairpin. He needs a good exit, but Kujela gets a lovely exit from that from the spoons through down to 130R. Yep, I think he's going to take a banzai moment from Prohaska to change these positions around.
I wonder if he's got the low enough downforce to actually, maybe he's lacking some straight line speed, and that's just why he can't find a way past that Forza car. They are very evenly matched, though. I mean, this has been an epic duel to behold, and I've enjoyed every single lap of it, and I'm going to be very sad when it's over. But Prohaska and Kujela putting on a fantastic show for us. It really has been today. It's been all about 3rd through 6th. That's sort of been the sweet spot. That's really where the majority of the action has been. It's been really exciting stuff, and I've really enjoyed the battles and the tenseness between all of those guys battling for that final podium position. But it is going to be all about Simon Kovacic, unless of course he runs out of fuel or something like that, which would be we have seen that in VGP before, so I'm not discounting it as a possibility. But it is going to be Simon Kovacic in the Logitech car who makes his way through 130R for the final time here at Suzuka in Japan, down towards the Casio triangle for the final time as well, over the curbing, and back end stepping out just a little bit there. He finds his way through the Casio triangle into the final couple of corners, though, and he is going to come across the line. And who is that, actually? That's somebody who doesn't want to do another lap by the looks of things, but it is going to be Kovacic that wins the race here at Suzuka. He's going to win the championship as well, too. Your 2019 Mercedes-Benz VGP champion is Simon Kovacic in the Logitech car. But wow, what a race from this pair right there. And he's going to celebrate with some donuts as well. But I have to say, Kujela and Prohaska, I have to say a big thank you to these guys for really... Oh, no! I don't think that's going to lose him any positions. Herdecki's pretty far behind. But Prohaska clearly trying very hard right at the end there. Again, though, I have to say a big thank you to those two, because they really put on a show for us.
Didn't they just? From lights to flag has been an amazing effort from all of our drivers. He's going to be sad to not see him for a while, but I look forward to where VGP is going to go in the future. And also these drivers, and Rigel still struggling, nearly throws it into the wall. And over the line then for the Acer car for the final time in this race. Liska's still going. He's on his own, isn't he, in the Benzina car? No one anywhere near him. But what an incredible race, incredible season, incredible drivers. We couldn't have asked for any more from this incredible 11 drivers for VGP2.
Wow, what a race. I mean, I have to say driver of the day, probably Kovacic. But Pichata did a fantastic job. I have to say, really impressive stuff from David Pichata. He's really impressed me in the tail end of this season. Kujela picking up that final podium position, very well deserved. Yaroslav Prohaska following right. The gap wouldn't have you believe it, but they were separated by practically nothing the entire race. and again, I wasn't sure Prohaska was going to be able to keep up with Kujela, but boy, did he. In the standings, Simon Kovacic, look at the gap that he has. Again, double points for this final race, so just extending that points gap to Pavel Rigel. David Pichota in third position with 156 points, and Kujela does take that fourth place position ahead of Prohaska. Again, very well fought race for those guys, and of course we do still have the VGP1 race to go, Chris, but look at that gap between Acer and Logitech.
Yeah, I think that's unassailable if my maths is right. So Acer will take that team championship. But well fought. It's been such an incredible season from both VGP1 and VGP2 sets of drivers. There is the podium ceremony, but well deserved. I mean, yeah, I would have no issues for Kovacic to be voted driver of the day. They've all done brilliantly. They all should be very proud of the performances they put in, not just this evening, but also throughout the season.
Yep, it's been absolutely fantastic. I have to say a big thanks to you, Chris, for joining me throughout the season. We still have the VGP1 race to run at Suzuka, but that's going to do it for the 2019 Mercedes-Benz season for the VGP2 category. It's been an absolute blast. Big thanks to the VGP team as well for putting all of this stuff together, and we will see you next time for the final race of the 2019 season for the VGP1 category. Good night.